The ship sliced through Earth's atmosphere like a dagger. Hidden from human detection systems by advanced cloaking technology, it descended unnoticed into the dense forest below, its landing deliberate and silent. Inside, a team of elite alien assassins, merciless, genetically engineered killers, prepared to disembark. Commander Rax, their leader, stood tall at the helm, his four eyes scanning the holographic map of Earth's major cities. His exoskeleton gleamed under the ship's dim lights, each plate etched with the scars of countless successful missions across the galaxy. Rax had led his team through innumerable conquests, eliminating leaders, dismantling civilizations, and leaving planets in chaos. Humans, he thought, would be no different. They were soft, disorganized, and easily manipulated. A few key eliminations, and the entire species would crumble. The mission was clear. Kill Earth's most influential leaders, political figures, military strategists, corporate giants. Remove the head, and the body would collapse. The Galactic Council had paid a hefty price for their services, wanting humanity erased from the interstellar chessboard. Earth was valuable, rich in resources, but its people were a nuisance. The Council had deemed them pests, and Rax was here to exterminate them. Beside Rax, Zorthis, his second-in-command, adjusted her pulse rifle, her clawed hands moving with precision. "Primitive planet," she said. "This should be over quickly." Rax grunted in agreement, his eyes narrowing as he focused on the hologram. "We eliminate their leaders before they even know we've arrived. Surgical strikes, no mistakes." The rest of the team, 6 in total, made final checks on their weapons and gear. Each assassin had been carefully bred and trained for this. Efficient, silent, and lethal. They had taken down the ruling dynasties of Kuruk, dismantled the military stronghold of the Zerni, and now they would do the same here. Earth would fall just like the rest. The ship's ramp descended, and the assassins stepped into the night, their forms blending with the shadows. The forest around them was alive with unfamiliar sounds, rustling leaves, distant animal calls, but to them, it was just background noise. Their senses were heightened, their neural implants processing every movement, every heat signature. Earth was a hostile environment, but nothing they couldn't handle. They had trained in far worse conditions. Rax gave the signal, and the team split into pairs, each assigned to a different target. Their mission was methodical. Strike swiftly, leave no trace. As they moved through the dense foliage, Zorthis' voice crackled in Rax's ear. "Do you really think these humans can resist us? Their technology is decades behind. They won't even see us coming." Rax's mandibles twitched into a cruel semblance of a smile. "We're the hunters. They're just prey." The first target was a high-ranking military general, hidden away in an isolated estate deep within the forest. Rax's team reached the perimeter in under an hour, bypassing security systems with ease. Human technology was laughable, basic, crude. It felt like child's play to disable their sensors and cameras. They moved with the precision of phantoms, slipping past guards and patrols unnoticed. Within moments, they had infiltrated the estate. Rax raised his hand, signaling the final approach. Then, something unexpected happened. A flicker of movement in the corner of his vision. Something fast, barely perceptible. Rax halted, every instinct on high alert. His eyes scanned the area, but there was nothing, just the wind rustling through the trees. He dismissed it. They had a job to do. But as they breached the general's private quarters, a sudden explosion of noise shattered the night. Alarms blared, lights flashed, and the estate erupted into chaos. Human soldiers poured into the corridors, armed and ready, as if they had been waiting. Rax's heart pounded with a new sensation, confusion. How had they been detected? This was supposed to be a surgical strike, a flawless operation. His team was the best in the galaxy, and yet something was wrong. As human forces closed in, Rax felt the first stirrings of doubt. Earth, it seemed, was not as helpless as he had believed. With a guttural snarl, he rallied his team. "Fall back. Regroup. This isn't over." But deep inside, a chilling realization began to take root. Rax and his team regrouped in the dense underbrush, their cloaking devices struggling to keep them hidden from the swarm of human forces that seemed to materialize from the trees. The night air was thick with tension, an unseen predator lurking just out of sight. "They knew we were coming," Zorthis hissed, her sharp eyes scanning the forest. Her pulse rifle remained trained on the perimeter, but no enemy was visible. Only the sounds of the wilderness surrounded them. Whined through the trees, the distant cry of some nocturnal creature. This wasn't a coincidence. Rax's mind raced. Humans were supposed to be disorganized, technologically inferior. How had they countered an elite team of assassins with such precision? His 4 eyes flickered between his team, reading the subtle signs of unease in their body language. They were killers, yes, but now they were in unfamiliar territory, and something about this planet was unsettling. "This planet is wrong," murmured Zarish, one of the younger assassins, as he adjusted the settings on his visor. "The flora, the atmosphere, everything feels hostile." "Keep your head," Rax snapped, though inwardly he felt it too. Earth was not like the worlds they had conquered before. The air itself seemed thick with an almost evident menace, the terrain unpredictable and wild. As they made their way deeper into the forest, moving toward an extraction point, the alien assassins found themselves facing obstacles they hadn't anticipated. A sudden torrential downpour began without warning, turning the forest floor into a thick, sucking mire. "This is ridiculous," Zorthis said, wiping mud from her faceplate. "How do these humans survive in this hellscape?" "They adapt," Rax growled, the truth of the statement settling uncomfortably in his chest. Humans had evolved to thrive on this planet, shaped by its dangerous ecosystems and unpredictable climate. In their arrogance, the assassins had failed to consider that Earth itself might be the deadliest opponent they'd ever faced. The air was thick with tension as Rax and his remaining team members crouched beneath the cover of a large, fallen tree. The forest had grown eerily quiet, and that silence pressed on them like an invisible weight. Every sense was on high alert, every breath measured. They had once been the galaxy's most feared predators, but now they were cornered. "They're tracking us," Zorthis whispered, her voice sharp with the realization. She wiped the sweat from her brow, her hands trembling ever so slightly. The pulse rifle in her grip felt heavier now, a far cry from the precision instrument of death it had once been. "Humans, hunting us like animals." Rax didn't respond immediately. He was staring at the terrain around them, his thoughts spiraling. The humans had adapted quicker than he could have imagined. They had been waiting, watching, and now they were striking back with a cunning that belied the alien assassins' initial arrogance. Earth's forces were not only using their military might, but exploiting the planet's own lethal qualities. The aliens were out of their element, and the humans knew it. "I didn't expect this," Gore, the team stealth specialist, muttered from behind Rax, his camouflage suit flickering as its cloaking mechanism faltered. "They're not just soldiers. They're predators. Like us." Rax's jaw clenched. "They've learned from the planet. Earth isn't just their home. It's a weapon." He peered through the gaps in the foliage, his sharp gaze catching glimpses of movement in the shadows. The humans weren't advancing in the open, weren't making the mistakes their previous encounters had led him to believe they would. They had learned the assassin's patterns, and now they were using that knowledge to their advantage. Suddenly, a deafening crack split the air. Gore collapsed, a bullet tearing through his chest, blood splattering the leaves. Rax barely had time to register the loss before another shot echoed, this time striking Zorthis' shoulder. She let out a snarl, dropping to the ground as the team scrambled for cover. "They're picking us off," Zorthis grunted through gritted teeth, pressing a hand to the wound that now bled profusely. "Where are they?" Rax knew. The humans had set up their traps in the environment, using Earth's unpredictable terrain to their advantage. They were ghosts now, silent, methodical, patient. The roles had reversed. The hunters had become the hunted. "They're in the trees," Rax growled, his voice tight. "Using the forest, like we did, only better." It was a bitter realization. The humans had turned the landscape into a living battlefield, and the assassins, once so confident, were now being outmaneuvered. He had underestimated them in every way, blinded by his own arrogance. "We need to fall back," Zorthis urged, struggling to her feet. Her eyes, usually cold and calculating, flickered with fear now. "If we stay here, we're dead." Rax nodded, his mind racing. The humans wouldn't stop. They had tasted victory, and they were going to finish what they'd started. "Move," he ordered, his voice low but commanding. "We retreat to higher ground." But retreat was no longer a tactic. It was survival. As they moved, the forest seemed to come alive around them. Hidden tripwires triggered explosions, sending shrapnel flying through the air. The ground beneath them shifted, more pits and snares set to trap them. Every step felt like a calculated risk, every breath a gamble. Rax could feel the walls closing in. The humans had studied them, anticipated their every move. What was once a surgical strike had become a slow, inevitable dismantling of their team. The sound of footsteps came from behind. Too fast, too close. Rax turned, firing blindly into the dense foliage, but he knew it was futile. The humans were everywhere, and their precision was terrifying. Another shot rang out, and Zorthis crumpled to the ground, motionless. It was just him now. Rax's pulse quickened, not from the thrill of the hunt, but from the realization of his own impending death. He had never felt fear like this, not in all his years, not in all the battles he had fought. This was something different, something primal. For the first time, he understood what it meant to be hunted. He sprinted forward, his feet pounding the earth, but the forest stretched endlessly ahead of him. The humans were relentless, closing in with every step, unseen but always there. And then a trap, a net launched from the undergrowth, wrapping around his body, yanking him into the air. He thrashed, snarling, but it was too late. The humans emerged from the shadows, their faces grim and determined. Rax's fate was sealed. As the humans closed in, he realized the truth he had been too proud to see. Earth was not a world to be conquered. It was a world that had already conquered him. The Galactic Council's chambers hummed with a tense silence. Delegates from across the stars, representatives of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy, sat in their ornate seats, their expressions a mixture of boredom and disdain. The Earth mission had been a mere formality. The humans, an upstart species, were to be dealt with swiftly by Rax and his elite assassins. No one expected any surprises. That silence shattered when the holographic feed flickered to life, revealing a scene no one had anticipated. The once commanding figure of Rax was barely recognizable. His exoskeleton was cracked and broken, the once pristine armor smeared with dirt and blood. His body, bound and beaten, hung suspended in the center of a crude, makeshift cell. He was a trophy now, an alien brought low by the very prey he had sought to exterminate. Around him, human soldiers stood watch, their faces cold and resolute. The chamber murmured in disbelief. How could one of the galaxy's most feared assassins have fallen so completely? A human figure stepped forward, his uniform pristine and his gaze unflinching as he stared directly into the holographic projector. This wasn't a message of surrender. It was a statement of power. "To the Galactic Council," the human began, his voice calm but laced with a warning. "We send this message as a reminder. You have underestimated us." He gestured to the bound and defeated Rax, his eyes narrowing. "This assassin was sent to our world, tasked with killing our leaders, dismantling our civilization. But Earth is not a world to be conquered. It is a death world, and we are its children." The delegates shifted uneasily in their seats. None had expected such defiance. The humans' words dripped with a confidence that was unnerving, especially for a species so recently introduced to the galactic stage. "We did not ask for this conflict," the human continued, his voice steady. "But know this. If you come for us, we will not merely defend ourselves. We will hunt you. We will take the fight to your worlds, your people. Earth is dangerous. Yes, but so are we." Behind him, Rax groaned weakly, his pride shattered along with his body. The once feared assassin was now a message, a symbol of the Council's failure to understand the humans they had sought to exterminate. His fate was a warning to the galaxy. Earth was no ordinary world, and its people no ordinary species. The human soldier stepped closer to the projection, his eyes narrowing as if daring the Council to challenge them. "We are sending you back the heads of your assassins. Let them serve as a reminder of the mistake you made." The image shifted to reveal a gruesome display. The decapitated heads of Rax's team, neatly packed in containment units, ready to be shipped across the stars. The chamber gasped as the full weight of what had happened settled in. The humans had not only survived, they had thrived in the face of annihilation. And now, they were delivering a bold, unmistakable message. They were not prey. They were predators. "Should you send more assassins," the human said, his voice growing colder, "expect them to meet the same fate. Earth is not a planet you can conquer. We are not a species you can intimidate." The holographic transmission flickered once more, the image of Rax's defeated form lingering in the minds of every council delegate. The humans stood silent, waiting for their response. But none came. The chamber remained still, the shock of the moment rendering the once powerful council speechless. In that silence, the truth was undeniable. The mission to Earth had not only failed, it had backfired spectacularly. The Galactic Council had miscalculated. They had believed Earth was an easy target, but they had awakened something far more dangerous. The feed cut abruptly, leaving the Council in darkness. But the message was clear. The humans were not to be trifled with. They had survived the Death World, and now they stood ready to defend it against anyone. As the delegates slowly rose from their seats, their once arrogant posture replaced by unease, one thing was certain. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and it would never make that mistake again.